Alexa, say 100 in Welsh.
100 in Welsh is cunt.
Hey, you know that Yang guy you're all fucking boner about? Andrew
If by
Yang?
boner you mean fucking concerned, then yeah.
Concerned, boner, fucking potato. So apparently he has a stance on like every fucking issue under the sun, even issues that have never really been issues before. Like he wants to ban what do the Jewish people do with their penises?
Circumcision.
Yeah, he wants to
Yeah.
ban circumcision, dude.
No, he doesn't, dude.
Yeah,
It's
he's
just-
like he has a stance against circumcision. He says it's like it's mutilation, and children don't have a say. And yeah, it's like really fucking weird, and fucked up. It's really pointless to have a position on that if you're running for president. And it's fucking stupid.
Yeah, probably is pointless for the president. But I mean, it is mutilation. The child doesn't have a choice. Sometimes they fuck it up. But
Yeah.
I guess it's relatively harmless. Most men grow up not even knowing what it is until they're like adolescents.
Yeah, I didn't know for like the longest time.
Yeah.
It's the kind of household you live in. You don't talk about that shit, you know? But, yeah, I don't know. That Andrew Yang guy, it's fucking rubbing me the wrong way.
Yeah, I'm telling you, he's a salesman. You listen to him speak a little bit?
Well, I mean, before he even threw his, not before he threw his, before he threw his name in the bid, I listened to he was on, what's that, Freakonomics podcast. I listened to a whole fucking hour of this guy because, my friend Faith, you remember Faith?
Yeah.
She was all like, oh, this is kind of political, and it kind of makes sense what he's saying, and so listen to this, and I'm like, this reeks of democratic socialism, but I'll bite. So I gave him the whole hour, and then turns out he's running for president.
Yeah. I mean, when they talk about it, it makes sense. It convinced her. Okay. I'm telling you.
Dude,
That's what I'm telling you.
It didn't really. I mean, well, she's like she's really smart, but she's not hard to convince when it comes to political issues, especially when. So the biggest.
There's a lot of people like her who are really smart and easy to convince of political issues.
Well, see, I found actually I brought because I'm always kind of patronizing her about it. I'm like, how the hell are you so freaking smart and you're still a Democrat? Just doesn't compute. And she's just like, well, I mean, these ideas are, in theory, if they work, yada yada yada, they're better. And but what we came to the conclusion was, I asked her, how many conservatives or even Republicans do you know besides myself? And she's like none. I grew up in Austin my whole life. I'm like, well, that's fucking it right there. Like, you didn't, there's no opposing viewpoints where she's from.
I mean, she's probably honestly, like next time you talk to her, she's probably making a decent salary. Why don't you just say, well, why do you want $1,000 a month? Wouldn't you rather when you're at the same time, you're paying more than $1,000 a month in taxes?
Mm-hmm.
What world does it fucking make sense that you're going to, instead of getting a tax break, you're just going to get a fucking check in the mail? And at the same time, you're still paying a lot of taxes.
Well, I've made these appeals before because I always will default to, hey, yeah, okay, it's easy when you're a broke college kid, yada, yada, yada. But how about now you vote with your wallet that you're a professional?
Yeah.
And I think, so I was talking to Alan a couple days ago, maybe yesterday, and he's saying his brother is becoming a bit more right-leaning, if you will. And his brother works in the oil field, right? And so he's making I think he's making over 100K, in fucking Texas, right?
He's not already right, and he works at the oil field.
Yeah, no, he was pretty little before that.
That's crazy.
But now he owns a truck. Now he owns a gun, and now he's all about limiting the amount of taxes he pays. Because for the first time, the past couple of years, he's had to hire, not just a tax professional, but a fucking accountant when you're making all this scratch. And I think he might have been actually I don't know. He might have been like a contract worker or whatever the hell. But anyway, Yeah, and now he's leaning more right just because of the the financial burden, and not only the financial burden of like paying more taxes when you get into a higher tax bracket, but the the field that he's working in particular, the oil field, highly regulated field. You have the EPA breathing down your neck there, with all these rules you have to follow and comply with. And I get it. You're trying to protect water tables and avoid little disasters here and there and all that crap. But he was telling me, he's like, yeah, my brother's not full blown conservative, but over the years he's morphed into like limiting the government, getting lower taxes, and he's all about the Second Amendment now. He works in the middle of fucking nowhere. So but yeah, I tell people vote with your wallets, but I guess it's a different story here in Austin, because Faith always tells me this thing. She's like, well, I don't mind paying extra for this service, government service.
Show me the fucking receipts on the tax bill,
bro. You're pulling a card.
Where's the receipt at?
Pulling a Cardi B over here.
Oh yeah. She's got a point. I like that she brought that sensibility to people in her pop culture way, because that's a perfectly sensible point.
Oh, it is. Absolutely. I'm not saying it's not. But I'm not going to be going to Cardi B for some fucking profound, political.
It's not profound. It's just what happens when you
when you jump into fucking tax bracket.
When you look at the number, it's like,
yes.
Oh.
Yeah. Well,
what did Cardi B say though? What are you guys talking about that?
She had a little video where I don't know if it was a Snapchat or whatever, but she just got on the camera and was like, basically complaining about how much taxes she's paying, and she was like, why are you taking all this money? Blah blah blah. Show me the receipts. I want to see the receipts. What you guys are spending this money on. And it was just, she did it in her own Cardi B way, which was really entertaining. But basically complaining about how much taxes she has to pay.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Well, I mean, she went to making she went to like a stripper's salary, which is still pretty decent. Probably. To making an international pop sensations salary in California.
Yeah,
presumably.
She probably paid millions.
Fuck yeah, dude. She's in like a 30-40% tax bracket.
Damn.
Easy.
Yeah.
And you know what is also cool? Let's not breeze over my boy. Who is it? J. Cole has a song about this too. Like fucking talk about Uncle Sam, like because he's in a really high tax bracket now. And but he talks about it from like a social, quote unquote, social justice perspective, right? And he'll reference like, well, the tax man says they're going to take our money and apply it to these programs to help communities. And it's funny because I'm in a position to where I'm being asked to pay all these taxes, yet where I'm from, I haven't seen any significant change from the government. So it's a bit of a different perspective. But well, for one, I appreciate the hustle, and two, I like the fact that some people are kind of waking up to the fact that, well, if we're going to rebuild communities, or actually just build communities well, we can't really just rely on the government to sew together a feasible social fabric. That really has to come from like the individuals and common practices, and the church can't. I mean, the government can't substitute that.
Yeah, dudes, I've been reading this book. I started it this morning. It's the same author. It's called Extortion. Same author as that book you got, Andy.
Mm-hmm.
Secret Empires. Pretty good so far. Okay. It sounds kind of gimmicky at first. Basically, the basic premise of it is that the only corruption in Washington is not just bribery, it's also the other way, where the politicians are extorting money from businesses to do things or not do things. And he's got a lot. He's cited his sources really well.
Damn.
Yeah, throughout. I mean, just every page, just footnote after footnote, and the back of the book just full of cited sources. I actually went online and checked a bunch of them. Pretty good, I guess, almost investigative journalism piece. And But yeah, it's a really easy read. I finished a couple chapters this morning.
Oh snap!
But yeah, it talks about how. I mean, it was interesting because I just finished the Rockefeller biography a few weeks ago, and in there it talks about all how he had senators on payroll and all the other dirty things they did with politicians, basically just paying them off to do things, and that there's a paper trail and all that stuff. But Rockefeller's position on it, Rockefeller always had a way of kind of justifying what he did and seeing himself as like self-righteous. And he always said that they were extorting him. And so that's how he saw it. And maybe there was some truth to that. People kind of wrote that off as like, well, we have all this stuff. You have people on payroll and you're saying they're extorting you. That's just you trying to justify yourself. But then there's a thing actually in this book about how back in 1904, I think it was. There's like the Tillman Act or some I forget the specific article, but they were doing assessments. Basically, there's a senator who did assessments to companies and sent them a note saying, "This is your assessment," meaning this is how much money you need to pay us if you want to see favorable results for your industry. And Standard Oil had one of like a couple 100,000. Back then, that was, quite a bit more, like 20 million or so, or 10 million. So apparently, according to this book, that actually happened, that they were extorting Standard Oil. And apparently happens today. Apparently John Boehner, super big on it. That's just the first couple chapters, but it's pretty interesting.
Okay.
It's a great name.
Extortion?
No, John Boehner.
John Boehner apparently is a player, man. He was apparently it's unspoken. I mean, there's like a couple examples so far about people who send letters like, hey, you should really donate to our campaign. But for the most part, it's unspoken, and he just digs it out because he sees that, for whatever reason, there were like 54 checks or 23 checks from various executives from various companies in this industry on this day, and this day happened to be the day that they voted on this bill, or this day happened to be like the day that John Boehner decided that this bill is going to go to the floor.
Yeah, how do we, get rid of that kind of stuff, though? Like, to be honest, how is it even possible to get rid of it if it's always just going to be like in secret? And if votes happen, if the guy gets paid on the day of the vote, like, he obviously can't change shit,
Well, if the companies couldn't pay for it, then it would be pretty hard. You would have to get your executives to privately donate to do it in concert. And that would come out of their pocket post-tax, not pre-tax. Right? The corporations do it pre-tax. It's an expense.
Okay.
So they spend $1 million. It would have been 500,000 profit anyway. You get a big discount on it. Right?
Yeah.
So it's that whole like corporations are persons thing that allows them to donate. So I think that would change the dynamic quite a bit.
Also just getting fucking honest politicians, maybe.
Maybe. It's like they're competing, It's like that's the way they fundraise.
Yeah, like just compete against each other. Even like the stuff that's going on now with the presidential race, like I've seen I guess I never really noticed it until today, but Trump has been kind of like campaigning for 2020 pretty hard. Like I saw like in before a YouTube video, it was like, donate to my campaign today, or like sign this letter or petition or whatever, like for me, like send me money. Getting crazy, dude. Been seeing a lot more Beto stuff as well. Also been seeing like a lot of trash coming up against Beto, dude. Like, tons of stuff, then like not qualified.
You mean you're just seeing Beto stuff then?
No, I've seen like Kamala Harris stuff.
No, like that was a joke. Like anything that was published by Beto or against Beto was going to be trash because Beto is just 100% trash.
All right.
Or Robert Francis rather.
Yeah.
All right. So I was reading MSNBC because once again I found myself with too many brain cells, and I needed to burn a few. I didn't have any whiskey nearby. So there's this article. The headline reads, "Factory workers at GM see layoffs, not benefits after tax cuts." Right?
Jesus.
And, this is in the economy section of MSNBC or NBC News, sorry. And I go, when I start doing some digging, the author of this it's really just like a terrible, terrible op-ed. Really.
Can you send the link real quick?
Yeah, I'll send you a link.
Drop it.
Let's see. The author of this, I'm gonna put it in the little chat box here. There's a little chat thing here, right?
Yeah. It's on the left.
Yeah. Okay. There it is.
There we go.
So the story was originally published by the Center for Public Integrity, right? A nonprofit, nonpartisan investigative news organization in Washington, D.C. So whenever you see nonprofit, nonpartisan, and it's like Center for anything, this is just a think tank. If it's in Washington, D.C., it's probably peculiarly, am I even saying that right? It's going to be insidious. It's going to be insidious. It's going to be insidious. Okay, and there's not going to be a drop of nonpartisanship to be found. Okay, so apparently this is one of a 6-part series of this nonpartisan news organizations, basically just running the tax cuts that were passed by the president, a couple years ago. This is one of the 6-part series of just them destroying any argument that any arguments that this actual tax cut was of benefit to any single person, but corporate, greedy corporate figures or whatever.
So what does it mean in their protest sign? It says, "A locate us, we've earned a new product." Does that mean they want to make a new car, or what the heck are they talking about?
Which one are you on? Are you on the
This is factory
NBC?
workers at GM.
The NBC website?
Yeah.
Allocate US. Oh, it's like allocate. A is for allocate, I think.
Oh yeah. I'm bad at reading, but I mean, what does it mean by a new product?
We've earned a new product. I have no idea. I think they're referencing because President Trump actually went to this is one of the towns he went to in his campaign trail, where he was telling people like, we're going to bring our jobs back or whatever, yada yada yada. Because they make the crews there, or they used to make the crews there, or they assemble a lot of the crews there, right? That's
What's
what Lordstown. It's like a shitty car that Chevy makes, or GM. So,
okay.
I think it's the Cruise. Is it the Cruise? Anyway, it's
Basically
one of the
saying make a new car, so we have to have a new factory so we could have jobs, basically.
Yes, that's what they're saying, because they don't know how supply chain works
Ridiculous.
or basic economics. So this brings me to the point I'm trying to make here with this news article in particular. It's obviously very pointed. It doesn't actually, like, nothing in this article explains like the geopolitics or even like synthesizes economics in layman's terms to explain why or how this sector of the economy is changing, right? Because of and you can explain it. You can give cliff notes and put some sources here if anyone wanted to get real deep into it. But you can give some cliff notes, give people the rundown, and then be a good journalist, right? But that's not what they do here. They particularly they purposely entered, people losing manufacturing jobs. I guess Trump's a liar or whatever. This is obviously politically motivated.
So Catherine Cranhold is the author, and she's a political shill.
Pretty much, like, what are those words that they use? So cunt in Australia is actually like a term of endearment. It's how we say bro.
I don't know about that. Is that true?
It's true, because like fucking Alan plays World of Warcraft or whatever the fuck with Australians.
Okay, I'm pretty sure that's totally a different subculture of the world.
No. In Australia, like, oh, like, you cheeky cunt, come over here. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, come over here, bro. Right? Here, here in the States, a cunt is what you call Catherine Cranhold for writing this piece for the Center for Public Integrity, and then NBC, I guess, would be proxy cunts for picking it up and just spreading misinformation. But and then I started going through. I've only went through like 3 of the 6 because this shit is fucking ridiculous. Like, it's talking points on talking points, and they use like fudged numbers. They don't even use like the correct CBD reports for like GDP growth over the last year. They're using like a really low number, which is less than 3%, when the actual number was over 3% GDP growth over the fiscal year 2018. So right off the bat, this nonpartisan, fucking not-for-profit think tank does not do a lot of thinking, and they
Well,
can't.
honestly, the GDP, like, how do you measure the GDP number? Like, there's a lot of variables.
Well, no, you get everyone's annual income, add it all up,
Mhm.
right?
Okay.
And divide it by how many people are actually working, like full-time wage
Isn't
earner.
that per capita income?
I guess. Oh yeah.
Bruh. Now, I don't
Yeah.
know. I think gross domestic product is something a little bit more complicated.
You might be right.
It's like a metric for how much value we've generated.
Yeah,
But of course, I don't know either exactly, but I imagine that it's a pretty tough thing to quantify across all these industries and all these, inflows and outflows of capital. You have to consider a lot of things. So, like, just like any data collection, there's multiple ways of collecting it, and the result's going to depend a lot on how you collect it, especially year to year. If you're not doing it consistently, it's going to totally skew your calculation.
no, you're right.
I mean, it's probably a lot of difficulties in measuring that.
It's
If
good
one
some
think tank comes up with a different number from another one, I'm not even surprised.
So it measures the market value of all goods and services produced in a period of time, and that period of time is usually like annually, 4 quarters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, exactly. How do you quantify all the goods and services produced? Like, you have to get, like, you don't have the information about private companies, so you have to kind of, I guess, go off of tax
Well-
returns maybe, or something like that. I don't
Well,
know.
you do, because businesses have to report all their financial statements, right? Like, well, not their financial statements, but their earnings and their losses.
Yeah, that must be the way. You must have to look at the IRS statements, but even that is skewed because people skew their taxes. I mean, obviously.
Don't they? Because so I just like recently, because I guess stupidly, I never really understood what points meant on like the NASDAQ or the Dow, and just kind of like learned that. And I don't know, maybe they do it off of that. Because what is like the Dow? It's like 100 top 100 companies,
Mhm.
and NASDAQ is like 500 companies or something like that.
Isn't it the S&P?
That's right. That's right. S&P. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting. I never knew that's how like they gauged the whole economy. I guess just 2
Yeah.
gauges of the
But that's also inherently really flawed because if you think about it, if you just take the top whatever companies, it's a pretty good like spot price, but over time it's skewed because some of those companies fall out and they fail, and then the overall graph doesn't include that data. So like the S&P like historically always goes up. Everything always historically goes up, partly because inflation, but also partly because the economy gets better and things get better. But also it's not counting the companies that failed.
Yeah,
Companies that failed, they're not in the equation anymore, so it's kind of skewed.
because then they would just get out of the list and the next guy would come up. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah. I never thought about that. So guys, check this out. All right. Alexa, say 100 in Welsh.
100 in Welsh's. Cunt.
Yeah, I just looked it up. It says that it can also be used to refer something very difficult or unpleasant, or with no negative connotations to refer to usually male person.
Dude, I told you. It's
What?
like, bro, that's what people say in,
Yeah,
Australia.
I guess you're right. Dude, speaking of Australia, I was just watching a Joe Rogan podcast from this Australian doctor or like a scientist who works at Harvard Medical School named Sinclair. I think his lab's pretty famous, but he does a lot of work about anti-aging.
Mm.
And he was talking to Joe Rogan about all the funky stuff he takes. Actually, Joe Rogan, like over the years of watching him, or over my time watching him, he does a lot of stuff to his body in terms of like he like modifying his body and trying to like hack his body with like testosterone. He does testosterone, does the cryotherapy. Now he's probably going to be doing this stuff that this guy told him on his podcast in February about these molecules that they use to make mice anti-age, and like I forget what else, but it's pretty interesting. Like he actually was able to make mice reverse their aging a little
Reverse
bit.
it.
Yeah, like
How?
he
Like, what does it
well,
mean?
basically he says that the main reason why you age is because when your cells copy themselves,
Yeah.
the information is pretty good, but the copying mechanism from one cell to the next is not very good. It deteriorates over time, so it doesn't copy it as well. It's kind of like with a cassette tape. If you copy the same cassette tape over and over again, or like if you manually copy a piece of paper in the copy machine, it loses information over time. So somehow there's like these molecules that he discovered that if you inject them in the bloodstream, it causes that to be better. And so
But how would one reverse age? Because that information is gone. You talking about just like stopping aging? I think I would understand that if it's like a
Yeah.
perfect copy would be stopping aging, but like to reverse would be like gaining lost information.
yeah, I don't know. Maybe they. I think there's also some experiments where they like connect mice that there's an old mouse and a young mouse,
Oh, okay.
and so they get like some of the cells from the young mouse into the old mouse or something.
Mhm.
I'm not sure, but um, I just saw like the podcast and then kind of looked at some of his separate videos,
Yeah.
talked about kind of the same stuff, and apparently he's taking this molecule. It's called NMN, and he takes it because it works so well in mice. So he feels like it's safe to take, so he just takes it. And
Huh.
the guy's 50 years old. He looks pretty young.
Wow.
Is he Asian?
He's not Asian. He's Australian.
Holy shit! I think he's onto something. I thought the cure for age was just being Asian for a little while until like you get like apparently it's how you see like the super old Asian people or like just Asian people who all look the same. There's like a point where just fucking boom goes straight down the hell. But
Boom.
yeah,
I'll
Dude,
show you
so-
guys. This guy looks dumb as fuck.
What's some other stuff on the news, man? That was crazy. That fucking what was that shooting that just happened in New Zealand?
Oh, yeah.
Middle Earth?
that was fucking ridiculous, man.
Fucking the Eye of Sauron fucking got him, bro.
The Eye of
Eye of
Sauron. What
Sauron.
are you talking about, dude?
What?
What are you talking?
That's so insensitive, Andy. Wait, is it Australia or New Zealand?
New Zealand,
I
yeah.
thought they took away all the guns.
The Kiwis.
Now, I mean, now they doing. So I actually looked it up, and because it said like go on their government website to see like how you can turn in your semi-auto. I think they're only banning semi-automatic rifles, not pistols, though. Because in like the video they showed, they just show like examples of things they're banning, and all of them were rifles. So maybe they'll get to keep pistols or something.
In New Zealand.
But weirdly, yeah, in New Zealand. But like things that they aren't banning are like automatic shotguns that are only have then you can only load them within the tube of the shotgun, but if they have like a detachable magazine, then you can't. I don't really understand that because you can fit like a shit ton in the tube.
They feel like 7 or 6, right?
Yeah. If you take out the spring, you can like hold a shit ton. Like,
Bro, you gotta protect yourself against those kangaroos.
Bro, it's New Zealand.
New
bro.
Zealand.
They don't have kangaroos in New Zealand?
Bro,
Actually,
they
I don't
gotta
know.
protect themselves against the orcs, dude. They're coming from the north. I'm telling you.
They have
That's
those
fucking
they have
real.
little Kiwi-looking birds. So they call themselves the Kiwis.
Is that one?
Yeah, because
But they're
birds.
just a fan of the fruit.
Nope, they don't eat fruit over there. They fucking No fruit. They banned fruit a long time ago because
Dude, it must be nice for them to be so close to Southeast Asia as like a vacation spot. Just go up there.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah. It would be cool, dude.
The place is cheap as fuck to be at, but
Yeah.
to fly there from the States is just so expensive.
They have such a. I mean, I kind of think of it like such an interesting like life they have because, I mean, what they have like to be in that size of a country, which is actually kind of big, but with so few like population wise, I mean, I think it's like in the millions, but that's like
it's
nothing,
like
you know,
it's less than 5 million.
Yeah,
Australia. Australia is 24 million. I just looked it up.
No, New Zealand.
Bro,
New
get off.
Zealand.
Bro,
Get off
get
Australia.
in the fucking NZ, bro.
That's 5 million.
Yeah. So it's like for like the landmass, I don't think it's that much. I think they're pretty like concentrated, but like to have a country where there's only 5 million people, damn. Well, I think they're actually very attached to the UK. I think like very attached. Just like Australia is. Like they'll like send in like I think their military is very connected, like all of their military.
Dude, honestly though, but Australia is way less densely populated. It's only 5 times the population of New Zealand, and it's like way more landmass than New Zealand.
Oh yeah. I mean, fucking Australia's pretty big.
It is pretty big, yeah. But I'm saying about this thing, you know, because I mean, you hear like a lot of stuff, like as soon as like, oh, this one mosque shooting, which is a horrible fucking thing to do. They like ban guns like the next fucking day, you know, like straight up, like we're banning semi-autos,
freaking tyranny
today, and it's like, damn, that was quick, dude. You know,
yeah, honestly, not to be cynical, but imagine if you had a political interest in banning guns or some kind of interest in banning guns. How cheap is it to fund terror in order to get that to happen? That's such a cheap way to get that to happen. It's cheaper than lobbying.
Yeah, man. Fucking crazy. Well, so the thing is, they're initiating a buyback program, and they say it's going to cost them like $200 million or something like that. Like fucking money. Like that's
buyback.
Yeah, a buyback program. It's like, so dude, it's like wild, man. Like to even think of something like that, they would be possible in America, like a mandatory gun buyback. Like fucking nobody would give up their AR.
I hope not.
Or AK, yeah, like I mean, fucking nobody. Like,
don't take it.
Yeah, no, straight up. But over there, it's like with this buyback program, it's mandatory. Like if they catch you with it, they say it's like a minimum $4,000 fine and 3 years in jail. Like, oh my God. Like, imagine that happening here. Like, I mean, obviously there would be people turning them in, but I'd say like a vast majority would never even think about turning them in.
There'd be a huge like underground black market for ammunition and those weapons.
For sure. And to even think that like so I tried Googling opposition to the gun ban and like buyback program in New Zealand, and like fucking nothing came up, dude. You know, like nothing at all. Like, is there no opposition to this, like at all? Like, does somebody want to keep their rifle and say, like, you know what? Nah, I'm keeping it. You know, like, because apparently there are like, I think close to, I don't know the actual figure, but like, I mean, we're talking probably like tens of thousands of like semi-auto rifles in that country. So it's a lot. And it's also like their murder rate with guns. I think last year they said was like fucking 35 people.
35. Goddamn, dude.
In the whole year?
Yeah, in the whole year, dude.
It's pretty low, right?
Oh, dude, yeah. That's like super low. It's 7 per million, dude. Yeah, it's 7 people dying. Yeah. What?
Records are meant to be broken.
Yeah. And I was hearing this thing about it, and it kind of makes sense. Like, it's such an anomaly of that kind of violence happening. You know, if your murder rates with weapons are so low, you know, it's just one of those random things. And to think that like nobody can commit like terror on that mass scale with like a fucking revolver, is like
Mhm.
it's like silly to think, or someone with one of
Right.
those like a shotgun, because there is not banning semi-auto shotguns like
Yeah.
with that, with like buckshot, you could load it super quick, like they're still gonna find a way, dude. Like if that guy is set on doing it, and like you said, a black market for it, man. I'm sure there's going to be people who don't give back their ARs or just sell them to other people, for like a large amount of money,
Yeah,
And
exactly.
then all of a sudden, there's a huge market for it, because nobody has them, and if you want one, you got to pay.
Yeah.
The guy might pay for it, like
No, it's true.
like yeah, they're not banning like. I doubt they would buy or like ban ammunition for it. I mean,
people would start bringing those things in on fucking boats.
oh yeah, no, it's like to think that this buyback is gonna do something, like evil is always going to happen. Like it's always going to find a way. If in 10 years a guy wants to do the exact same thing, I'm sure he'll be able to find it somewhere somehow. Like
Yeah, I think that the whoever has interest in banning guns, it really helps that other countries are doing it. I mean, in the United States, whoever wants to ban guns in the United States, it really helps to point and say, well, all these other countries banned guns. Why are we so behind?
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah, I hate that argument.
Yeah, for sure.
I hate that argument so much.
It's like we're not behind. We're
ahead.
We
We're
experience,
ahead.
Yeah.
There's a class of people in the United States who understand, the possible downside is too much to risk.
Yeah.
I'm glad that those people exist. I mean, for all the, havoc rednecks might cause, we need that shit.
For sure. I love the phrase that I heard. The Second Amendment was created for the explicit purpose of protecting the Second Amendment.
Oh, hell yeah.
Funny. Yeah. It's just like, oh yeah, like that totally makes sense now.
Now, dude, the Second Amendment was created to protect the First Amendment. Because once
it's like all amendments.
well, I mean, logical conclusion. I think I remember Sam. He kind of told he was like half joking, half being
Old Sam or Sam Borsov?
Borsov, the Bulgarian. He was telling me, because he's all pro Trump, like 100%. And he has MAGA hat on, and he's just fucking like he had his MAGA hat on, and then he had his pistol, on his holster or inside of his holster. And he was doing his typical fucking whatever bullshit fashion. Was like, I got the Second Amendment here on my hip to protect me from people who want to take away my First Amendment. He pointed straight to his hat. And this was kind of in the time where, I mean, even now you walk through San Francisco, with a dildo on your head, you're less likely to receive any lambasting or physical assault than if you were to walk through San Francisco with a "Make America Great Again" hat.
Well, you probably shouldn't get any hate for having dildo on your head anyway, but I get your point.
You should get a lot of it.
Bro, y'all were here when they did it here, where people were walking around with dildos on their backpacks.
Honestly,
remember that?
it wasn't that much. Like, it was on the news and it was on Buzz.
But didn't they hand out like a fucking 1,000 dildos or
They
something like
handed out
that?
the dildos, but nobody had them out. Like, I remember walking around campus, like, it was a big deal in the news, but there were I saw maybe like 2 or 3 dildos hanging from someone's backpack.
Mm-hmm. I saw like little dildo keychains, and to me, that's like you're not doing anything.
You didn't commit. Yeah,
There was a big headline news story. It was like a girl waving these giant dildos like in the center of the UT campus.
Mm-hmm.
But like that, it was way over dramatized. Like, no one was really supporting it, honestly.
Oh yeah, it was like this tiny little shot, and all around her, everyone was just like walking around doing what they normally do. But yeah, at that rate, it's like I wish that there was what is that, Babylon? It's that new The Onion kind of satirical newspaper. I wish they would have written like a heading that read something along the lines of, socialist student organizer says they can, allocate their funds better as a group, spends entire budget on dildo. You know what I mean? Something like that. Like, what the fuck, man? Like seriously, they bought a lot of dildos. They could have done a lot of good.
That's why Cardi B
for
wants
sure.
to see those receipts, bro.
Dude, exactly. Like so, like a lot of these old social organizations on campus, by the stupid bylaws of like the university, have to have like a charitable organization that they contribute like hours to or money, right? This
Yeah.
bitch is fucking just buying boxes and boxes of dildos that I know for sure gay dudes were stashing because one of my friends, he's gay. He was just like, I got a couple free dildos. He's like, I don't even care about what they're talking about. I got some free dildos, and he's doing things the Bible says you're not supposed to be doing with those things. All right,
That's what the 4-8 is.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, man, it's a terrible waste of
Yeah,
money.
man, you just gave 1,000 like sex toys out, for
Yeah,
that purpose, for sex.
To college
Yeah.
students. I mean, to college
Yeah.
students.
Yeah. Hey guys, you interested in politics? How about dildos? Yeah. Like, but seriously, there are people like this. Okay, those people with that mentality that we like brush shoulders with that sounds super ignorant while we're on campus. There are like a good handful of those people sitting either in DC or here at the State House in Austin, doing a job that we're paying for. I mean, Annie and I via Texas, taxes, and I mean, I'm sure the same can be said for some fucking ignorant liberal arts kids working in some state house in a different state. But
Yeah.
because I know people personally who I'm like, holy fuck, you're kind of bad at being a human being. You're not very inquisitive, and you don't question the government at all. You basically think the government is the end all solution to every problem you can make up in your head. And now we're giving you some levers to control it. It is scary.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's a fucking weird thing, man.
Yeah, that dildo girl,
Weird.
I wouldn't doubt if she's working, she's like a legislative aide for some fucking Democrat now.
Oh yeah, made it big.
Yeah.
What was your claim to fame? Just fucking gave out dildos, dude. Damn.
Mhm.
What a life,
Yeah.
dude. Resume, dude. I wonder what
Yeah.
her LinkedIn looks like, dude. It's a fucking dildo. Like just
No.
her holding a dildo in front of the tower. And it's
Right.
just fucking like power, dude. Like
You gotta own that shit.
Some people
yeah,
see
dude.
some people see a dildo. I see a road to prosperity for minorities and women who have been oppressed. Shut
Yeah,
the fuck up, Robert Francis.
yeah. It's just like she could use it in this way. Like that one guy, he wrote a letter to Stanford. Like his Stanford application essay was just writing Black Lives Matter like
Over
1,000 times.
Over.
That's literally it, the whole
And
thing.
over.
And he
Yeah.
got accepted.
Yeah.
And it's like, fuck, dude. Like, so like, I guess that's what that's what it takes, homie.
That took
You know?
no
Yeah.
pros. It took no
Yeah,
thought.
man.
It took no structure. It took bowing down to an ideological agenda that unfortunately all these institutions for higher learning are promulgating. All you gotta do is say, you know what, you're 100% right. Use me as a vessel, and I will, and I'll add you to the diversity
Mhm.
fucking part of your little plan that you send out to the donors or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
I hate it. I hate it.
Yeah.
Or is that kid just really smart because he knows that it's gonna work?
I think both.
Yeah.
I mean,
Taking advantage.
I guess a
Can
broken
you-
clock.
It's
A
gonna
broken
work.
clock. A broken clock can be right twice a day. Maybe that kid is just so stupid. He's like, "What the fuck?" Like he already set on going to whatever college. And he's like, "Fuck it, I'm sending this to an Ivy League." All of them. One of them's just like, "This guy's so woke. We need him."
Yeah.
That could be another possibility. I really don't want to. I mean, if he finessed the system, good for him. But I don't think he did.
I mean, when they're raking in all that money, it's like, why not accept more people?
Well, I mean, if a guy like that can finesse the system, I'd hope a guy like that could get out of the system or do something better.
I feel like that kind of just locks you in though to like, oh, we're sending you to like the journalism school, like if you were to apply to the engineering school at Stanford with that essay, you fucking wouldn't get in.
How do you know?
Hopefully.
Like hopefully, yeah.
How do you know?
Like, I mean,
Yeah.
because you're just not, dude.
This
Like,
guy's a super genius.
It's a fucking troll, dude. Like, I mean, he probably wants a degree that he was applying for, but like, I think it depends, like, what could he have been like wanting to study?
Absolutely.
Um,
Dildo science.
and a
Probably.
black kid.
Yeah, probably like
I don't know, Black history,
yeah,
social stuff. I don't know.
some like useless, degree.
Yeah,
Probably. Yeah.
Who knows, man? Yeah, I don't know. I was thinking about that lately about like all this stuff about color and things like that. It's just kind of a
Thinking about
kind
color,
of a,
Andy.
nah, yeah, dude.
I don't even see color, right?
Yeah, I mean, but that's like the thing, dude. Like, I mean, who does, dude? Who fucking does? Who
Dude,
focuses
honestly.
on that, dude?
Yeah.
Like, it's such a silly thing. I
Leftist.
mean, I get mad when like people call me like, oh, like you're Hispanic and stuff, and like all
You're
this like
Hispanic.
fucking ask me like what's the best thing to order at a Mexican restaurant? Like, fuck you, dude. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like to me like fucking
That's
cares, dude.
I tell them the truth.
Don't go to
Bro, Andy, you need to be proud of your heritage, all right? I'm tired of this bullshit.
dude, who gives a shit, dude? Honestly,
God damn.
who gives a shit? It's
Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of people judge you that way these days, and not
Yeah.
the people you think.
Yeah.
It's the people that are supposedly trying to defend all that stuff. They're the ones always thinking about it. I like what Morgan Freeman says. You know, they asked him in some interview. They're like, "Well, how do you stop racism? Stop talking about
Stop
it.
talking about it.
Stop
Yeah.
talking about it.
That's
Oh,
it,
yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
It's not natural to talk about it. Like when you're a baby, you don't even when you're a little kid playing on the playground, you have no idea. You don't even
Fucking, yeah.
it doesn't even come across your mind that there are differences.
Yep. Just like I think it was probably the same interview that you heard where it's like Black History Month where he like fucking hates it.
Yeah.
He's like,
Like,
why do we have a fucking Black History Month? You know, like what is,
White History Month.
yeah, it's like what a
See, I
weird-
see like a big value in like glorifying heroes that don't get glorified enough, especially if it's like women or like a misrepresented race. Just because if you're a little kid and you're trying to aspire to be something, it really helps to have examples.
Yeah.
And if you see like if you're especially maybe not to me, race doesn't apply as much because there's less differences with races, but with gender there's a big difference. So if like like say you're a man and you're trying to get to like fashion industry when you don't see a lot of men in the fashion industry, it's hard to find an example to copy to get yourself up to, being a great fashion industry person. And same thing for women for a lot more industries, right? So I see like a really big need to like promote certain people that get under promoted just to help those people that are trying to aspire to be something. But
I
at
get
the same
that.
time, it could like, having the month for it or whatever and causing this whole racial talk all the time could have some negative effects too.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest though, I feel like you hear more about race now than you did in like, 2000 to like 2010. Like I guess maybe I was a kid and like the valley's pretty heavy on
It's a-
Hispanic people.
It's
But, like,
homogenous almost.
yeah, it's a very like homogenous place, and like I didn't even fucking think about it, dude. I mean, like
Yeah.
what's there to fucking think about? I don't really get it, man. I mean, shit, half the people thought I was white in the valley because I didn't fucking speak Spanish that well. Like,
Yeah.
I remember Liberty in the fucking soccer team in middle school. They'd always think I did. I always thought I was like white or something.
Andy
It's like,
Sanchez was white.
Yeah.
yeah, dude. Because I fucking didn't like speak Spanish, dude. And like everyone there, like strictly.
Andres. Oh yeah, and soccer team. Yeah, those are the
spoke
freaking.
Spanish. Yeah, dude. Like, I mean, those dudes are probably better at Spanish than they were at English, man.
Oh, yeah.
Shit.
I imagine they were probably speaking Spanish on the field, like
Oh, yeah.
primarily.
Hell yeah, they were, dude.
Yeah.
And it's like I'd always answer back in English because fuck, I don't
Yeah.
know that. I don't know Spanish that well. I mean, I don't. First of all, I probably didn't want to make it like a joke of myself, but like fuck, dude. Man.
Yeah.
It's just like
I wonder how well Roberto Francisco O'Rourke knows Spanish.
I've heard him speak Spanish on a clip or two.
Yeah,
he has an American accent. I mean,
it sounds fucking dumb. I think in that same interview that what Morgan Freeman was talking about how we shouldn't talk about race, he also said something along the lines of like "fuck Robert Francis."
I don't know.
That's a
I don't know
rough.
about that. I don't think it was that time.
That's a rough translation.
Did
Or
you hear that thing where Beto was a part of like that what's it called, like hacking group, like and some shit like that. Like,
Oh yeah,
he has
yeah.
the weirdest fucking
He doesn't
history.
have skills.
yeah. He's
Honestly, since you were talking about last time how he only passed like one bill, and then I read this stuff about how like in extortion about how congressmen will get together and put together a bill that they know is going to stir up some positive or negative support from corporations just so they can like extort money from them to either pass it or to not pass it. So I wonder, if he seemingly was not that busy, maybe he's just a really clever, cunning politician, and he was like organizing a bunch of these bills just to raise money, just to like extort from companies. Maybe he was involved in that activity. I don't know. Just throwing it out there. It's possible.
It's plausible, yes. But I'm gonna err on the Michael Knowles breakdown of how he
Michael Knowles.
sees. So Michael Knowles and Ben Shapiro have pretty interesting takes on the whole Robert Francis phenomena, and actually a few episodes back on Ben's podcast, he goes over like the history of Robert Francis from like straight up from like his birth to like past high school up until his tenure as a representative, right? And also like the history of him marrying a very wealthy family. Like he's worth just like close to $10 million.
Who is?
You know what I mean?
Who is?
Robert Francis.
Oh, really?
Like before campaigning. So, and he raised $90 million fucking last year. Yeah, this guy. So,
That's disappointing. Makes me feel like he's not one of us.
He's not, dude. Okay, he's just so. Like I said, I like Ben and.
Wait,
like
does that disappoint you though? I don't know. To me, I don't really care if he's rich or not.
Well, he doesn't. He's not open about it.
He's not at all. No, that's
It's
the whole point.
disingenuous.
That's
Like,
the whole
he came
point.
out and was like, "Look,
I guess so.
I'm a
Yeah.
wealthy family, this and that. This is my situation, who I am." But that's
Yeah.
not really what he tries to espouse. He brags about how he ran a small business. You know,
True.
and he had to make payroll. It's like, well, you don't have to make payroll. You're fucking running a web development company. You got 10 million of capital. You're not making payroll. You're just fucking.
Yeah.
True.
You know,
True.
Yeah.
You're not having a hard time. But
And we'll see. That's what Ben Shapiro was saying. This guy has, for all intents and purposes, lived that privileged life that a lot of these the progressive base is rejecting ideologically, right? Oh, the white male complex, the privileged white male complex. He is the epitome of that, 100%.
Mhm.
And so, but Michael Knowles, in the Michael Knowles fashion, just basically says sometimes rich white guys get bored and they run for office.
yeah, I can see that.
Boom.
He
Dude,
got
this guy-
bored of skating and being a nanny, and so he's like,
Yeah.
well,
and
run
we've
for office.
and we've already established if you're a lazy and you're underachieving, the best place for politics right now for you specifically, your kind, is in a Democrat's office. And I know personally Democrats who basically do nothing and occupy Democrats' offices at some of the highest echelons too, right? So Robert Francis is basically that. He's a 20-year-old underachiever who grew up to be a 40-year-old underachiever and is now just playing in a different ball game.
I don't know. Like, are you an underachiever if you raise 90 million in a year in a campaign?
Absolutely. Are you look? This is why I can say that
That's like, isn't that the highest like amount of fundraising or something in like
history,
Texas?
yes. And no,
Texas Senate.
in congressional history
For a state senatorial.
for a senatorial race in history. No, but the reason I say this is because I mean, like, think about the logic of Stacy's fucking mom took away her cell phone, so let's start a GoFundMe, and she gets $20 million and a fucking deal with like VH1 or whatever the fuck to make a rap video.
Mhm.
Doesn't mean she ever achieved. Doesn't mean she achieved anything.
Why not?
Well, I
Yeah,
mean-
no, that's achievement.
No. Well, I mean, it's an achievement, and so, or as far as other people who are willing to buy into the gimmick,
I mean, just because you didn't achieve something that sounds sexy doesn't mean it's not an achievement.
okay,
Damn.
I guess.
Like he raised $9 million. Maybe he did it in a non-scrupulous way. Hey, whatever. I don't know how he did it, but that's more than anybody else. That's an achievement.
Yeah, but he still lost. Isn't that not an achievement?
Yeah, that's not an achievement. Losing is not an achievement. But
So
the money in and of itself is.
No, it cancels out. So he's an underachiever.
Well, yeah, I mean, sure, you could think of that about it that
He
way.
also raised like the most in one day than like
No, he didn't.
any other campaign.
Bernie Sanders did.
No. He raised 6.1 and Bernie raised 5.9.
Holy shit, he beat Bernie.
Yep.
Okay.
Grando.
Yeah.
Damn.
See,
200
I think there's a better argument for him being cunning and something and maybe dishonest, maybe just a little bit, than there is an argument for him being an underachiever.
Okay.
I think he like if he's raising that kind of money like that, I mean,
Point
can
taken.
you really? And he's saying he's not doing it with corporation money. That's
Oh, okay. False.
it's false.
I showed you. Or I don't know if I showed you guys the actual numbers, but you can go to ballotpedia.com and see all the campaign contributions. He received. Well, I guess it's not a corporation, but he received a little under $400,000 from the University of Texas for a Senate campaign.
From the University of Texas.
From the University of Texas at Austin, our alma mater.
How does that work? How can a school donate to a campaign?
Exactly.
I don't know, but it's on the federal commission that regulates.
Because I don't know if that can happen because the school isn't just a school. It's literally like
Look at the numbers.
It's federal money.
Yeah,
Look
it's
at the numbers, Andy.
government, dude.
Yeah.
What I'm telling you is what the numbers say.
It's dirty. It's dirty.
Do you look? Let me look it up. Let me see.
I don't like it one bit.
It's like where I was hearing this like argument of like unions give some of their money to like certain campaigns, but like not everyone in the union is for that like campaign, so it's kind of fucked. You know, like why is this union giving money to things that I don't like support? And it's like,
Well, yeah, I mean, if that's a thing, that's a really complicated union thing. I mean, if you don't like what the union is supporting, then you don't join the union. But it's not that simple because joining the union has a lot more to do with it than there's a lot more
places you got to be in the union, dude.
Yeah, sometimes required. Sometimes it's like if you're not in it, there's like it's really complicated.
Yeah. Open up that link.
I'm reading it, homie.
Open up that link.
You send it in the chat or what?
Top contributors. Yeah. Look at the University of Texas right there. Alphabet Inc. You know who that is? That's Google.
Oh, we know.
Fucking Google.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
No. Why is it? What is the difference between total and individuals?
Okay, so in the individual, as an individual, meaning you, myself, or John individually can contribute up to $2,500 or $5,500. But as a super, so us three, we just need two people, right? Me and you. I mean, I guess us three, we could make a super PAC called the Rooster PAC, right? And that Rooster PAC,
love it, dude. Why don't we fucking do it, man? Isn't it like a 5,000 max?
For individuals, yes, but for PACs, it's a little different. So we could pull like millions of dollars together between the three of us, even if it's just us three contributing, and donate it on behalf of the PAC. But we cannot be in communication with the campaign that we're donating it to. So we can donate it in the form of flyers. We can donate in the form of block walkers. We can donate in the form of radio, television, and adverts, right? Things like that. But yeah, so the University of Texas donated over $400,000. I didn't realize it was over $400,000.
And it looks like industries donated, so that means companies. That's
private corporations
or retired. Is that retired people or what is it? That AARP or something? What does that even mean?
No.
Hopefully, it means just people, but lawyers and law firms. I mean, that's partnerships, corporations. That's
Real estate, 1 million. Health professionals, education. Yeah, he needs to do better with education if he wants to take any primary.
J Street. You know, J Street is that's a hedge fund.
Yep.
That's a Wall Street firm. J
Yep.
Street is their third top contributor. His third top contributor, 182,000.
Mhm.
Then University of California, AT&T, also 6 figures. Yeah, that's no bueno. I mean, he says that it's all people, no PACs.
Dude, I was telling
Okay,
y'all.
so I'm just fucking reading this article over here. It says employees of UT system institutions contribute more than 300,000 to Beto O'Rourke campaign. It says UT institutions are prohibited from donating to political campaigns. UT spokesperson Karen Adler said in an email. However, the UT system does not have any policies related to employee contributions, which means employees of UT institutions can make personal donations to political campaigns if they choose. That's why it's individuals equals a total amount.
Yeah.
So this is just like, I guess it's saying contribute. Yeah, it's a weird wording thing here, but UT, like the University of Texas, did not contribute to the campaign. Individuals working for UT did.
Yeah. That's
Oh,
just,
really?
I think that's common practice for companies to basically, I mean, tell their executives this is what we're doing, and they all send checks from their personal accounts, and then I'm sure they get compensated for that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, and also 400, a little over 400K. That's like, almost 3, annual salaries for tenured professors, right? At the top of UT. Like the income there at UT, they're getting like 100 to 150K.
Fucking way more. Like,
I'm just saying
my professors make a fuck ton of money, dude.
No, well, I'm saying that's like the average, ranging from the engineering to like the humanities. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, fucking the dean probably makes somewhere probably like 500,000. Was like the president makes like $1 million or more than $1 million?
Yeah, way too fucking much. Not as much as Tom Herman and company.
Dude, couldn't save Bill Powers, homie.
Damn.
No, I was kidding.
Andy, have some fucking respect. Andy.
He was the OG when we were there, dude.
Dude, he was a fucking frat star. This guy would straight up walk out of his office with the fucking cigar. He would look at that no tobacco campus, spit on it, like drop into his Lexus and just fucking screech his tires while he's
down a Lone Star, fucking right there, shotgunning it right out the office.
Pretty much.
For anybody listening, Bill Powers is the former president of UT. The late Bill Powers.
the late William Powers, better known as Bill.
Dude.
I got to meet him here in the Valley. Did you meet him? Did you guys meet him? There was like when you got accepted, I guess John transferred in, but when you got accepted to UT or whatever, and they had those little it was like, oh, the UT affiliated campuses around the Valley would host like events like gearing up, what you should expect, this and that. And Bill Powers came to speak at one of those. And he was a pretty charismatic guy, very likable.
Yeah.
He's
a very George Bush character, I feel.
Absolutely. And I am, it's unfortunate that we had to see a guy like that go.
Second longest serving UT president.
He did a hell of a job, man.
I don't really like I don't get a good feeling from the new guy. Fenves.
Yeah, Fenves is squishy, man.
I don't get a good feeling from him.
Actually, you know what? I do give him a pass because he allows concealed carry on campus.
Fucking God, dude.
All right.
I got to give him that.
All right.
Concealed carry on campus, dude.
And
honestly,
he did.
Like, I want to hit up this gun topic, but I think we should wrap up pretty soon.
All right. All right, I'm gonna do the what a guy because Andy basically just gave our last one away.
Oh, you know
Alright.
what, dude? I got the perfect guy, dude. Hold up.
No offense.
No fucking powers.
No. Bill Powers is the what a deceased guy.
That's Adrian.
R.I.P. What a guy. I got Pastor Chris Williams.
Whoa.
All right. I'm gonna his website is godsgarage.org. What this guy does, he has this organization called God's Garage Repair, or God's Garage rather, and he repairs vehicles for single mothers, widows, and wives of deployed military like personnel. So it's kind of like a godly wounded warriors, but the family thing. And he doesn't charge anything, but the stipulation is, they also give refurbished vehicles to people who qualify for them. So this is particularly like for women, and what he offers is they have to go through a year-long application process, which includes enrolling in a budget management class and a course about life skills, so that people aren't just taking advantage of like charity, right?
Alright.
And so so on top of him, I think it's like 5 people now. He started just like one guy. On top of his organization, offering these classes, offering this help, he'll just offer classes on like how to even maintain a vehicle for people who who really rely on a mode of transportation as being like the sole mode of transportation for an entire family, and don't particularly have like the set of skills or never were taught how to maintenance simple things like tire pressure, oil changes, filters.
This guy in Austin?
No, he's up in I want to say Houston, but don't quote me on that. But anyways,
What a guy.
What a guy. Pastor Chris Williams doing the Lord's work, working on cars, getting a little bit of grease on his hands, just so he can save some souls. And he's also helping veterans out.
Big greasy.
Yeah. So I thought that was like that was pretty cool. He's helping women, he's helping veterans, and he's doing it in the name of God. So what a guy.
What a guy. Reminds me of Jesus.
A macchiato